Okay, Dad, tell me about the cars that you've had your whole life. Different cars. How many cars have you had?
I think total in all is 40 some, but part of the reason may be because we never had a car when I was growing up. My dad never had an automobile or anything, but when I was 15 years old, I worked 50 cents a day, whatever it could make, and some way, somehow, I bought a car from a man whose son had went in the Navy, and he had given the car to his son. It was a 1933 Dodge car, 4 doors, and it was during World War II, and it was $85. And the car was in St. Louis, and of course I was down in the country, so another guy took me to St. Louis to get the car, and I left St. Louis with it. Didn't get very far, but I had a flat tire, and you couldn't buy tires during those days. But we got it to some place, and the guy put what they call boots in tires. It make bumps when you ride, you know. But I got it to the country, and anyway, it had a lot of miles on it. It ran fairly good, but after several months, one of my second cousins that wanted the car real bad, and he wanted the car, and he traded me a horse and I think $15 for the car. So I was without a car then until I went to St. Louis a few months later and got a job, and bought a car right away, which at that time, during World War II, they weren't making cars, but a 1937 V8 Ford car. And an older couple had it, and it only had 31,000 some miles on it. And a beautiful car for that day and time. And that particular model was known for a real fast second gear in it. And boys liked to race a lot then. You put that Ford in second gear, it would go fast in that. Drive from St. Louis, this has always been interesting. I would drive to Steel Wheels about 100 miles. Ford was known to be a vehicle that burned a lot of oil. And I would drive from St. Louis to Steelville after I got a job there and got the car. When I got into Steelville, I knew I was going to need 4 gallons of gas and a quart of oil for that 100 miles because they used a lot of oil. So I had that car for some time, and of course my sister Gladys, who had always called my second mother, I was suffering with tuberculosis and didn't have any way to go. I left the car in the country then, so we'd have a way to go. And 12-way bus run through the country then. I'd catch a bus back and just go when I go down on the weekend. But then finally, we took her to St. Louis and put her in the tuberculosis facility in South St. Louis, and I got on to the job at Hurix in that. And I was in the country over the weekend, started back on Sunday night, and had a wreck and totaled the car. And then somebody on the gravel road between Davidfield and Cherryville. And we were both in our gravel road. We were both too close to the center. And so I think I got $30 out of that car for the wreckage at the Ford dealer in Steelville. But then shortly after that, getting time would suit me to go in the military, I bought a 1935 Pontiac car from South King Tire. We had a dealer, and it looked good and ride good, but parts were hard to get in that day and time and that, so I drove it on South Kings Highway and back in that, and went back and bought the car. And the next day or two, across the railroad track and it bumped, and front spring on it had been broken and they had a tube of them. Just being a young kid, I didn't realize at the time to kick all the tires and see if they were all right and look underneath it. But anyway, of course, Lawrence, my brother-in-law, was a good mechanic because he'd worked on old cars in the country and everything, and drove the truck, all stuff. And he got that fixed up, so got it running again, and then I went in the military, and I left the car for Lawrence and Gladine to use. And he had a wreck or something, and then he traded it for me, my name, for a 1937 Studebaker Dictator. He had different 2 or 3 makes. And when I came back from the military, Lawrence and Gladine had the car in that. And so not too long after it was a while, that we drove that car and let them use it. And one night, we decided that Lawrence had planned it to go down to the country and go deer hunting at night. And so we went deer hunting, and there was 5 of us in the car going home. And the Studebaker Dictator, the spring went crossways. And one of the shackles broke loose from the wheel and come down, locked the wheel, and rolled, I know, 3 times end over end because I was in the back seat. And of course, at that time, Gladys and I were dating. And Lawrence and Roy, her brothers, and my brother Noe, and Lawrence and I, 5 of us in that car, 3 of us in the back, and had shotguns in there. So it rolled end over end, and then sideways twice. It was up several feet off the ground on top of some trees, just below Viburnum. And my brother-in-law Lawrence was driving, and we all almost killed him. We stepped on him to get him out of that, and we finally went on to my brother's house, got his vehicle, and we all went to Salem to see a doctor, which was quite a ways away. We got a doctor away in the night, and something had punctured Lawrence's neck in that. The doctor said it was a miracle that he didn't die in that. The rest of us wasn't really hurt, but still a miracle. But of course we were bruised up and all that. So I think when they picked up what was left of the car and that, I think they got about $25 for the scrap on it out of the car. And then from a friend that worked at Purex with us, when he came back from World War II, he had bought a 1939 Dodge Club Coupe. And it was a nice car. It had I think a 1942 Plymouth motor put in it, and of course it worked all right because it was Chrysler products. And so it had, of course, the front seat and then what they call jump seats, 2 seats folded down behind the seats. So I got that car, and that's the car that I had when Gladys and I got married. And then not too long after we got married, we were down in Salem on the weekend to see their parent, and there was a car dealer sold the soda cars, which was made by Chrysler, and Plymouth cars. And so we went looking around, and a car that didn't have too many miles and wasn't too old, almost new, a 1947 Plymouth 4-door, light blue, beautiful car, and the insurance man there had it, and we drove it and liked it, and traded for that car, and it was what they call a loaded then, a car loaded. It had a heater and radio, they call it loaded. they weren't putting air conditioning in an average car back then, maybe some of the big ones. So we drove that for a while, and then in the meantime I had bought Gladys's grandpa's home place, the old Thompson farm and that, and we were doing some work to put in stock out there and that. So in 1950, I traded the Plymouth car in and bought a brand new 1950 3/4 ton red GMC pickup, top of the line. I thought I was rid of somebody, and we drove that for about 2 years, and getting ready to become a Christian and everything, and loved the Lord, and decided we were going to get rid of the farm and that. So we were back down in Salem on a weekend, and another farmer out in the country there really wanted that truck. He had the Pontiac dealer looking for a truck, a man by the name of Mr. Finch. And so I went by to see what he had, and so we worked out some kind of a deal, and I ended up with a 1948 Chevrolet, and he bought the truck, and so we drove the 1948 Chevrolet for a while, and then I bought a 1950 Chevrolet car, a real pretty car, wasn't too old at that time. It was green with a white top. Most cars back then, two-tone, they call it. And we drove it in 1954. This time I had answered the call of preach and driving down to the country. So at Lindbergh Cadillac, they sold Cadillac cars and Chevrolets. I was looking around, and Chevrolet had come out with a new car they called Del Rey. It had leather inside and a white top, blue color, beautiful car. So I bought that car and drove it till 1956 and bought a new Rocket 88 automobile. It was one of the hottest cars on the road at that time. And I drove that car till 1960. And I left Purex, and Purex insisted the position I had that we drive a bigger car, because up in the management so high. But I talked to them, and since I like the Rocket 88 fast car, generally you had to drive a Cadillac or a New York Chrysler, but they let me drive the Oldsmobile. And when I gave my resignation there, I went and bought a brand new American motor car, a Rambler, 1960. And I had that car till 62. And at this time I was in Parkview Church in the Lowe's. And over at Farmington they had an American motor dealer shop. And the old Nash that had been dropped, that was where the American Rambler came from. And I traded there and got a 1962 Rambler. I had that car, and then I transferred to Illinois. In Illinois, I bought a new Plymouth 1965 model, and drove that car, and I moved to Moline, Illinois, and just passed from there, and got that car totaled out and kept it behind the truck. And the car sat in the Chevrolet dealer where they towed it in. There's a Chrysler dealer the other direction on the same street. And at the end of that 30 days, they were going to charge me, I think, $5 a day for the car being in there, or they would knock that off if I traded for a Chevrolet. And then I traded for a 1967, because the other car had totaled and I had received insurance that was covered. I hadn't got a deductible. So I bought a 1967 Chevrolet car and drove it, and then we transferred to Nashville, Tennessee. While in Nashville, Tennessee, then pastor, I bought a 1969 Chevrolet, one of the top of the line two-door sports model. They kept that till I moved to Viburnum, Missouri to pastor. And it wasn't long after I moved there, I traded it in Salem. Florida dealer shop was still open at that time, and I bought a 1961 Plymouth Fury 3 4-door, and I drove it till early '63. I'm off on my dates here, '73, and I traded in for a new Plymouth 2-door. It was a smaller model, but it was full size considered at that time. And I had that car. That's when I took Jeff to Nashville, Tennessee on Sunday afternoon. Which is a little out of that, but I drove all the way to Nashville, 340 miles, I think, from Viburnum. Unloaded him into the dormitory and drove all the way back to Viburnum. I didn't want him to see me, but I cried all the way back. For some reason, Gladys was working part-time at the shoe factory at Fieldville, and there was some guy that lived down the street. Her name was Gladys Turnbough that she rode with. That's the reason she didn't go with me. But anyway, I drove that car. Let me think now. Let's see. I drove that until what did I do next? Oh yeah, we finally moved back to Tennessee. I had that car, and in 1975, we moved back there, and I believe it was in the early spring of '77. I traded that in at a Dodge and Plymouth dealer out in Madison, Tennessee, and I got a top of the line, beautiful vehicle, light gray with a maroon leather top and all that. So I bought that car. That's the car we drove all the way to the West Coast route, and went down to San Diego and drove all the way up the 101 Coastal Highway, up to Vancouver and that, and come back across to Portland, Oregon. And, well, of course, I went by Fort Lewis, Washington, Tacoma, Fort Lewis, where I took my Army basic training, and made that round, come back through Salt Lake City, Utah, and of course, finally on back. We was on the road 3 weeks that trip. And then I transferred after 3 years at the Oakwood Church. And that particular Plymouth transferred to Leeton, Alabama. And after Leeton, Alabama, a while, it was in 1980, I bought a new 4-door. We came out with a new Cutlass, smaller Oldsmobile. I traded that Plymouth Inn there in Florence, Alabama, at the old Oldsmobile dealer. And I bought this 1980 Oldsmobile. And we had that car till I went back to Moline for a while, and then helped them. The church was about to go under, and I told them I'd come back and give them a year, which I did. And then I went there to Headland, Alabama. Well, in Headland, Alabama, Florida State Association National. Gladys and I had to go to Florida and be the Florida State missionary. Of course, Harvey Hill, whose church we'd been converted into Mission St. Louis years past, was chairman of that board. And we first said no, and then finally we gave in to go, accepted the job. So at Leeton, Alabama, and rather at Headland, Alabama, we went into Dothan, and there was a big Chevrolet dealer there. And I traded that Oldsmobile in and bought a brand new 1983 Chevrolet Impala. We was going to go on the road, Razor Sports and all that. So I had that car, drove a lot of miles in that. And in 1985, I traded in for a new Challenger Chevrolet. It was a smaller car. It came out with that model, and I had that for about 3 or 4 years. Kenny and Judy was home one day, went to the mission field and come back. I had that for 2 years, and in '87 they came back and they was looking for a car, and I had found a Rocket 88 Oldsmobile, beautiful car, and it had some miles on it up in Clearwater, Florida. And I wanted to buy it. We both liked it real well. And Kenny and Judy bought a Challenger, bought that Rocket Oldsmobile, drove that, and then in '89 we traded that in there in St. Petersburg, Florida, for a new Sabre Buick '89. And we drove that car. In the meantime, we finished a total of 7 years in Florida. And we went to Newcastle, Delaware. And in Newcastle, Delaware, we was there almost 3 years. And we resigned there. And as I was getting ready to leave, I bought a new '93 Sabre Oldsmobile, and we kept and pastored in North Carolina 2.5 years on the way back to Missouri. And I had that car when we went back to St. Louis, and then down to Licking. And with Licking, bought a new '96, the last year that made that great big Impala Chevrolet. It was made on the same line, production line as the big Buick and the Cadillac. And we bought that car, and we drove it for some time, but in the meantime, we transferred to the church in Waynesville, and I went and bought a new 1998 Chevrolet pickup truck. Of course, I had both vehicles. And then, it wasn't too long after that, I traded the big Chevrolet car in on a Buick Century. Century at one time was the big Buick, but they had dropped it down to they called the middle size in those years. The Roadmaster was the bigger car. And so we drove it for about 2 years, 2.5. And in '05, I bought another Century, traded in as identical, but we'd had an accident, a deer had run into the front of us and that. We had the car fixed and everything, but we went ahead and bought another one. We was getting quite a few miles on that one. Then we drove that car till that '05 model till almost '08, and then '08 we traded for Chevrolet, a Malibu and that, and in 2010 I bought another new Impala. Had a few miles on it, but Impala Chevrolet. And then in 2015, I bought 2015. Oh, I'm getting old. Bought a new Cruise car, and then in April the 10th of this year, 2017, I bought a new Nissan Altima in North Carolina, and I don't remember. I think I mentioned the 1950 GMC pickup, didn't I? And I bought 2 pickup trucks in there. Now, that was the main vehicle that I have driven, Mom and I, through the years, although during those times, while we were in Nashville, we bought, in addition to a regular car, a Volkswagen car. And that was the car, I think it was Jim, that Judy was going to work or school one morning and quit running. And Jim had told her there might be some, might need some water. She called. She never forgave him for that. She raised the front hood. Of course, the motor was in the back of it didn't have a radiator. And that was always a lot of fun in that. I bought a little French, I think it's a French Renault car when I was in Alabama. Somebody had one to use and I didn't need it. And later, Jim bought that when he moved to Enterprise, Alabama. And another time later in the years, I bought the 1937 Ford car when I was with Brother Roy at that time. Leading the car and didn't have money to drive, but I let him have that. And I've forgotten, there's been, I bought 4 or 5 cars in between. Like for instance, the car that you, Jeff, had bought for Melissa to drive at Bible College, and then Ken and Judy bought that from you. When they got ready to go back, well, I bought that from them. And I had that car for a while. That was after we moved into the apartments. And somebody wanted it real bad, and I sort of, sentimental value, I didn't want the reason I didn't want to let it go, but I did. And so there's been 3 or 4 other cars through the time that I have bought. So I think 40-something cars that I've owned in all in my lifetime. And Mom and I decided after we moved out of our house and went full-time in the ministry, and was on the road a lot. And maybe it was selfish, but we felt like we deserved a good, dependable car. And since we never had one when I was a kid, a car was always a weakness of mine, still is, you know. And so we always kept a good car. We traveled a lot with the kids. You would feel home and everything, you know. With all of my cars, I've become a Christian. I dedicated them all to the Lord. Felt like He made it possible for us to have the cars. And I traded sometimes when I didn't really need to, maybe, but we've always been blessed and the Lord provided. And of course, in the earlier years, I financed a car. We haven't had to finance a car in many years. When I bought the new 81 Malibu at Waynesville, the guy talked me into, he said, you got a AAA credit rate, but if you don't use it, it'll go down. And so we let him talk us into financing that when we didn't need to, didn't have to, so we financed it. Of course, I just never liked that, get without things. And so, but she was always willing to go along with whatever I thought. We talked it over, so we financed it. We made 2 payments. We decided we didn't want to make payments, so we paid it off. But God made it possible through the years and still provided for us. So that's pretty well the life of my automobiles. Of course, a lot of people say if you want a car, go see Turnbough. He's a horse trader. He'll help you. So that's the automobile transportation aspect of my Gladys' life.